Hello, hello, hi, folks. Welcome. Happy Monday. In hopes that you squeezed more out of your day than the day squeezed out of you. Welcome. Good to see you. Um, Very productive day today. I've been working today, man. It's been fun. I've been reaching out. I've been answering all my chats. I think I'm caught up. I think so. I think I'm caught up with all the chats, which is amazing. And I'm hoping that people can. Oh no. I don't know if people can see me right now still or not. I think you can. I'm gonna go with it. So, tonight we're gonna talk about. Let's see. What I want to talk about. I want to talk about. There are times in our lives that there are things that we don't want to do. In fact, not only we don't want to do them, but it's like humiliating to do them. You know what I mean? It's like humbling. It's really like, especially if you've been at the top and then you drop, and then you got to do these humbling things. Um, pretty tough. Pretty tough. I remember. Actually, this kind of hits home for me. I remember when I lost everything, I had to go. Man, I got to tell that story one day, but I went from getting offers from banks and all these places to work, to having not only zero offers, but I was getting turned down left and right. So sometimes you gotta, when you hit rock bottom or whatever life gives you, sometimes you gotta, oh, there's somebody here live. Oh, Brad, I don't see who's here, who's not here, unless you comment. I get excited because I see live audience now. Oh man, that is exciting. Because I couldn't see a live audience for 2 weeks. Whoever's here, just let me know who's here because I don't see who's here, who's not here, unless you comment. I think that's what it is. But by the way, download the iOS 16. I'll have some updates for you tomorrow. It's sick. Let me just tell you, it's sick. It's just got so many stuff, but I'll have some updates for you guys tomorrow. So let's get into tonight. There are times that I remember, like I said, I remember when I hit rock bottom, and I've hit rock bottom twice. But the first time I hit rock bottom, I mean, I went from, it was bad. I don't want to go into that story right now. It was bad. So I went from, here to then boom down here, and I had to accept doing things that I never really thought I was going to do. I honestly didn't think I was going to do that stuff again. It was very humbling. So sometimes life has a funny way of doing that to you. But I want to give you a Stoic story. You guys know I'm a big fan of the Stoics. I can't really call myself a scholar of the Stoics, but I'm definitely a huge fan of this Stoics. Scholars are in a whole different ball game, but I definitely am a huge fan of the Stoics. The story goes as such: there was a powerful Greek general, if you would, that he was so successful, so powerful that obviously he had a lot of enemies. Well, eventually, these guys, the enemies, have get him appointed to keeper of the city's sewer. Now, they get him appointed to this because they're thinking this position for a very successful, high-powered general is pretty humiliating, to say the least, right? Well, to their surprise, not only he does the job, but he actually goes on doing the best he can, his very best. So Plutarch actually says that he transforms the office from this dark to light, right? Now, the whole point is this: he doesn't want to just do the job. He wants to do the best that he can at the job, right? So he goes by this notion of how you do one thing is how you do everything. I heard this notion a while back from my mentor, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and I never got it. Like, I repeated it, but I never got it until recently. I got it. How you do one thing is how you do everything, and there's a pattern for everything, right? So how you go into this humiliating job thinking, everybody thinking that you're going to get humiliated, you're not going to last. You go in there and you transform everything. You become this positive person. Not only you do your job, but you do your best, right? So it's not about doing a good job, it's doing your best. It's not about doing a good job, it's about doing your best, right? So this whole thing about the Stoics, let me go here. The Stoics have a belief that it's not what we do. This is huge. I want you to really pay attention to this point. It's not about what we do, right? It's about, and this is huge, it's about who we are when we do it. Oh, if you catch that, that is so big. It's not about what you do, right? It's about who you are when you do it. It's about all your principles, your values, your beliefs. It's about who you are when you actually do something. Because if you are a kind of a person that does their best no matter what, then you're gonna do your best no matter what. Whether it's in a humiliating situation, a humbling situation, or a high grade situation, I guess. I'm being money, right? Yes, you are. And I'm glad you're out of the hospital and ER for now. And take good care. So it's funny. That's the truth. I mean, it's just if you are that kind of a person, then, like I said, there's a pattern to that, right? There's a how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you're that kind of a person that you just don't go into doing something just because to get it done and get it over with, you're the kind of a person that does their best. Now, here's the thing. This is a big thing. This is not about being perfect. Okay? Thank you. This is not about being perfect. This is the whole different ball game. This is about you doing your best. Doesn't mean you're perfect. It just means you're doing everything you possibly can. You're not just doing the bare minimum to get by. See, if you're doing that, then there's a pattern for that. You're doing that other places. You're having your paradigm show up in different places. I've talked about this several times, right? So how you do one thing is how you do everything. If that's the kind of a person that you kind of just do the surface, just the bare minimum to get by, then you probably do the bare minimum to get by in everything. Think about it. And that's the truth. If you really sit down and think about it, you're like, yeah, I do the bare minimum there too, huh? I do the bare minimum. So the Stoics, I love this about this. I mean, there's so much I love about the Stoics, but not what we do. It's who you are when you do it, because it's such a mic drop. Like like B Money said, it's such a huge mic drop, because the person that does that task, the person that does that work, is the person that's going to show up in other places. It's not the task. It's the person that shows up to do the task. Remember a while back, I did a live on my 3 C's in a relationship, what I want in a relationship was my 3 C's. And the first one was clean. I said you can like clean your car, but you can not, doesn't mean you are a clean person, right? You know, you can have a clean car, but you don't live a clean life, right? That's what I'm talking about here. It's not about what you do. It's about the person you actually are when you do the task. You know, at the when you dig deep and you really look deep enough, you can kind of point your finger to, that's who I am. That's who I am, and that's who shows up in different places, right? I had to recognize that. I had to recognize that, and I had to be honest with myself, and I had to just kind of call myself out on it. It's the truth. I've been talking about it for a month now. I had to call myself out on it, right? Like today was one of those days that I don't think I've ever worked this long, this hard for a network marketing gig. I've never worked this hard today. I'll just give you an example today. I was prospecting I started prospecting at 2 o'clock and I got done. It was 8:22, I think it was. 8:22, 6.5 hours of prospecting. I don't think I've ever done that. And yet I would sit there for 10, 15 hours and call out 200-300 like cold leads for loans and mortgages. See, I had to call myself out on these things. That doesn't make any sense. I would sit there for literally 12 and 15-hour days. Some of you have worked with me in the office and know that I'm not kidding. 15-hour days, 7 days a week. I would call out 300 plus calls. No joke. Right? With my stutter. And I never did that for myself, like in network marketing. And then people, anyway. So I had to call myself out. It's like, who am I showing up as doing these things? Am I showing up as that person that kind of half-asses things and just, you know, or am I showing up as a person who's hungry, who's wanting this, who's really focused on impacting lives and getting out there and just throwing myself out there, right? And I had to call myself out. I had to go back and look at the Stoics and say, hey, it's not humiliating. You can transform the office. You can transform that whole energy, that whole vibe. You can change the whole thing, right? So, like I said, I had to call myself out. So I'm asking you to call yourself out. If you're in a situation where you're in a humiliating position, and I have been in those, like I told you, I've had 37 jobs. You would think that I've been in some places I really didn't want to be in, right? So that's funny. I remember a couple places, but you know, sometimes we get into those places, and I'm asking you to show up as a different person and transform. I've been in places like, truthfully, and this is, I don't think anybody on Facebook is a friend from those couple offices. I don't remember, but there were a couple offices that I got a job at, and I started working there. And it literally was a nightmare to walk in. I'm not talking about, oh, it was kind of like No, it was like a nightmare to walk in. Like you had no idea what the heck is going to happen that day, right? And one of these offices, one of these two, I took a point on myself and I really took charge because I kind of liked the office. I really liked the spot. I liked the gig. It was loans, had more mortgages, but I liked the gig. I liked the place and stuff. And I did everything I possibly could to help transform the office. And then it got shut down. But that's a different story. But I did my part. I did my best, and I didn't even know Stoics and stuff that at that time. I just wanted to show up as a different person, right? So I'm asking you to do the same thing, and it's just in life. I'm not talking about job, relationship, and anything. It's in life. There's gonna be places in life that it's humbling. It's humiliating. It's tough and rough and scary. And I'm asking you to show up to transform, to show up to change things up, to show up to spice it up. You know what I mean? You be the one. You be the one that shows up like Plutarch says, you know, this Greek general transformed. I love that word, transformed the office. So I think I beat the heck out of that point. Hopefully you guys got some love, some inspiration, some value from this. I appreciate you guys. Those of you whom I returned, the texts and the chats. I apologize if it took a couple days. Like I said, I was just, I'm trying to get better at getting organized, but I think I got everybody back. If I missed one or two, I'm gonna check on them and get back to you. But all is well. I hope you guys got some love, some inspiration. Hey, I did a skit just before this live. Go check it out and give it some love if you would. Drop some comments, share, do what you got to do if you want, and drop your feedback below. I appreciate you guys. And until tomorrow, when we do it all over again, much love.